Hello everyone, welcome back to the next installment of Waterloo Road Rewind, Series 2, Episode 2, and the 10th episode of the podcast so far. Now, I know I did mention it before, I am really planning on doing some kind of special. I'm not sure what shape or form that's going to be. It will be in the next few weeks. I've just been so strapped for time these past few weeks. Even this podcast episode, I was not convinced I'd be able to get it out on time. I've had so much on. My best friend is getting married on Monday, or when this podcast comes out, I will be at said wedding. I have been away for the stag do in Poland for a couple of days. I've been a bit sick. I've got a cyst, which I need to sort out on my face, beautiful imagery. I've just been crazy work. We've had an audit and a stock count, and it's just everything's gotten on top of me. I've had no time to do any of the YouTube stuff that I'd usually do. So sorry, I know this probably sounds a bit like poor me at the moment. These past 2 weeks or so have just been relatively intense. From next Tuesday or Wednesday onwards, my life will go back to normal, so I will have the time that I need. We also had a horrible heat wave last week, which I had to go to work, but I had no energy to do anything. I tried sitting at my computer, and it was just, the sweat was just running down my face. I did it for about 10 minutes, and I was like, I can't. I actually can't. We're British people. We don't do heat. So, anyway, apologies for my rambles. I just thought I'd give you a little insight into my life, but I was like, no, I've got a little bit of time today. I haven't missed a podcast day yet, and I've got so many nice people commenting and viewing that I don't want to let them down. So we're doing this episode 2. So as you can probably tell, the thumbnail's a little bit different. Well, as I said right at the beginning, every time there's a new head teacher, the thumbnail's going to change, even if it's just a fun little gimmicky one-off like this one. So as you can tell, Andrew is the acting head teacher, and that's kind of the main crux of this episode. We've got him running the show. Things quickly fall apart, and we see that he's really not cut from the cloth that Waterloo Road needs to be a head teacher. I kind of think, and this is an interesting one, and I'm probably going to use like Harry Potter as a means of like comparison because, schools and all that. So in Harry Potter, the school basically chooses who can be a headmaster, or Hogwarts has to accept it. It's like in Order of the Phoenix, Umbridge can't get access to Dumbledore's office, and it really annoys her in the book. So she has to use her office as a means of like running the show, despite the fact she is quote unquote head teacher. The school kind of sees who's worthy and who can run it. It's why like the school saw the bigger picture. The school understood who Severus Snape was, so it allowed Snape into the office to run the show. Like, in a sense, Hogwarts is sentient, and only a certain person can run it. Now, I know Waterloo Road is not sentient, it's not sci-fi, it's not fancy, it's gritty, it's in reality. It's a British school in the Northeast. But in a sense, I do think that this episode shows that only a certain person can run it. And as good as Andrew is as a deputy, he's not ready to be a head teacher yet, or he's not the right fit for Waterloo Road. It's kind of, we see it a lot throughout the school's run. Like Karen's whole run is ultimately a downfall because she is unable to run the school effectively, and we see her sort of run out of steam, run out of energy, and in the end she's like, I might be here next term, I might not be, we'll have to wait and see. It's kind of like that. And then we see like Nikki becomes the head teacher when Michael steps down for a bit and she can't hack it, so Christine takes over. Or in the modern show, Joe becomes the head teacher, but he can't hack it, so Steve takes over. Like, there's lots of little instances where stuff like this happens, and I think this episode just has fun with it, and that's sort of what this one is, just sort of a bit of fun. So if I take a quick look at the notes that I made. So I like the opening. I think that beginning with Jack and his sort of reaction to it is good. We saw at the end of last episode, Jack got really drunk and was like, "You can't take my bloody job, it's my job." And Andrew's like, "Jack, you're drunk. this is happening, blah, blah, blah. And Andrew compartmentalized it as the greater good. It's what Roger Aspinall needs to improve the school. He's doing good, even if people like Jack and Kim and stuff don't see it. He believes what he's doing is right. So there's that. At the beginning, we see Jack empty his office and begrudgingly remove his name from the door. And we saw the previous head teacher's name underneath, which is a fun little Easter egg. Brian Brassey, whatever, which was fun. And then Roger's like, "Oh, Jack, I'm expecting you to be like a good deputy to Andrew." And you can just see in Jack's face, Jack is basically wanting to tell him to like go F himself, even though he doesn't do it. So that's fun. Roger's views for what the school needs kind of aligns with Andrew's kind of belief system to a degree. So Roger wants to have an environment where kids want to learn, can come and learn, but they're way too trigger happy about expulsions. Like Janice's phone goes off, he confiscates it. Yes, Janice shouldn't have taken it back, but I don't think that's enough to exclude someone. Kim's very vocal about it. And we sort of see across the episode how Andrew's belief system kind of unravels and falls apart. So Andrew and Roger believe wholeheartedly that by getting rid of students like Lewis Seddon and other troublemakers with ASPOs, that they're doing the school a greater good, the community a greater good, even though the general sort of balance and atmosphere can't cope with it. So having the likes of these kids run riot in the village or town or Rochdale, whatever, it's having a negative effect, and we experience it and we see it firsthand, which is really good because it's showing, it's not telling. So we see that Mr. Patel, who runs the local shop, he gets robbed by Lewis Seddon and his gang. Lewis covers up the CCTV camera and basically robs him. They steal alcohol, they steal snacks. I mean, he slaps him. Lewis is being incredibly racist towards him, and Mr. Patel just can't do anything about it. So naturally, he reaches out to Waterloo Road, which makes sense. He says they're kids, they're young, they should be in the classroom, they shouldn't be out drinking and stealing and smoking and God knows what else. So he makes good points. And it's kind of like he's struggling to make a living, he can't afford security, and he sees that Waterloo Road has kind of let the community down by getting rid of these kids, which is true. I see that point of view as well. I know that the school shouldn't be held fully responsible because ultimately it comes down to the actions of the individuals, but they could have and should have done more with most of the kids in order to prevent this. Like Lewis, threatened Kim and terrified her. I think there's no question that he should not be in Waterloo Road. But for other ones, like Janice, who just had a phone ring, I think it is a bit extreme. Even from this early on in the episode, we see that Andrew's struggling. Like, he gets Jack to come and help him and go confront Mr. Patel. Jack is gritty and hands-on. He will literally put these troublemakers in their place. Something that Andrew can't do. Andrew is lawful and an authoritarian. He's not afraid to lay down the law. But when it comes to literally getting in these kids' faces and speaking their language and really, really putting a foot down and meaning it and showing it, Jack is who you need. Jack is that blunt, gritty edge that Waterloo Road needs right now. It's the beginning of the show. Things are a lot more turbulent. Like in Universe and Out, it needs someone like Jack to lead it. Right now, as far as school goes, let's just say for argument's sake, Waterloo Road is a school that exists. It's arguably the most rocky and turbulent, as I just said, point of view that it is for the whole show. It needs someone like Jack at the very beginning to knock it into shape, or at least have a clear passageway ready to go. Then you could have the likes of Rachel come in and try to improve things, but I think as one first push to really knock things into shape, Jack's who you need. And I think having an episode like this quite early into this series and Jack's tenure on the whole, it really shows the necessity for having Jack Rimmer at Waterloo Road. So, as I said, this is the first episode to reintroduce Lewis into the show. He is kind of like a secondary villain this series. It was kind of quite brutal that the first scene we see him in is him terrorizing Kim, and Kim basically telling him to do one. And then this is where we sort of see the sort of outside of the school events kind of unravel. I think what's interesting about this series, specifically Series 2, compared to a lot of the other series is that we see things happen a lot more outside of the classroom, like we see the greater community more. And as I said, I think this is probably the series that does it the most, because you have Lewis's, like, stuff with Lewis going on in the background. We build up to that guy who's assaulting girls, and Lewis gets the blame for it. It introduces Maxine back into the mix, and sort of like her story fundamentally takes place outside of the classroom because she was expelled previously. So we see the connection between her and Steph. We see Lewis working at that restaurant. There's just a lot of things that happen outside the classroom. It kind of feels like a 50-50 split. Whereas for a normal series, I'd say it's maybe 80-20, 90-10 with things taking place in school. Like, obviously, there are still big events that take place outside, like the opening to the last part of Series 7, where Tarek and Finn go to the arcade and it ends up being an ambush for Finn, like stuff like that, outside of the classroom. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. So it's kind of good that we've got Lewis back. I mean, I think he's a good character, he's a good villain, and he's the organic way to kind of bring Maxine into the mix because they're sort of seeing each other. So there's that. What else have I got? So Mika's cyberbullying plot, it's done so well. Like, the actress who plays Leanne does such a good job of just being this nasty, horrible girl. Like, it's very believable. And this kind of stuff would happen in schools. I mean, it happened when I was in school. Not to me personally, but I do remember that there was an image of a girl who was in year 10 or 11 and made its rounds. And it completely devastated her and stuff. And yeah, like it unfortunately, as horrible of a topic as it is, and a situation as it is something that happens, especially now with technology being like much more prevalent and further along. These kind of horrible, indecent images do happen. And I just think that the acting between Leanne and Mika is just done so well. Like, we see Mika go to pieces. It's horrible. She's terrified. She's scared that if she opens up to her parents, the teachers, anyone, that the images are just going to end up on that website. And it's not just the actual threat of the images. There's just abuse from this awful website. It's just cyberbullying through and through. It's one of those where I know this arc ends in one episode's time and that Leanne gets expelled. I think much like Lewis, I think Leanne is one of the prime examples of deserved to be expelled. Like, what she does is, I'm gonna throw it out there and say one of the most horrible things that happens in the whole series. Like, it's awful, but I want to praise the writing and the acting because I feel this passionately about it. Like, it's awful. I mean, I would have found it bad watching it live when I was like a kid or a teenager. But now, as like an almost 30-year-old man, me and my partner are talking about kids and stuff. Like, if I had a daughter and she was in this situation, I would go absolutely berserk. So it kind of, I get it. Like, it's awful, and it's done so well. It's like the scene where Lewis threatens Kim. I think that's acted so well. Like, I know a lot of these are just typical soap actors, but I do think that some of them deserve a lot of praise. The one who plays Mika really, really deserves it. And I like the scene between her and Steph. Like, I know a lot of the time Steph just played for comic relief, but Steph really does have a good heart and really does care. And I think this is one of those moments where it shines through. And yeah, so I'm glad this plot point's almost done because it's quite horrible to watch. But yeah, it's well acted. So I guess the biggest sort of clincher for this episode is Mr. Patel has a breakdown and starts throwing food at the school. He gets rid of all his stock and basically starts crying and says he's got nothing. Like, you feel for him because Lewis has just been aggravating him and pushing him all day. And likely it's been happening for a while now. This isn't like an isolated incident. And then it's just Andrew being unable to control the kids and know what to do. And Kim confronts Roger, basically calls him an idiot and stuff, and basically says that everything he's got going is terrible. And Roger's reaction to being like, oh, people don't talk to me and stay in my employ, and then Andrew defends Kim, and that's what's the clincher for Andrew is, like, how he treats Kim. I mean, it shows that Roger is a pathetic little man. Like, we knew that from last episode, but it solidifies it. And I think it shows Andrew sort of gaining a backbone and sort of realizing that there's more important things than just what would have been his core values about authoritarianism. So that was good. Again, it's pushing the romance between Andrew and Kim. Like, she's annoyed at him, but it makes sense because he usurped Jack for no real reason. And, like, as Roger said, a lesson was learnt. Let's move on from it. Like, Roger realised, oh, yeah, this was a mistake, as did everyone else. The Mr. Patel plot's random, but it's quite amusing. Like, I do feel for him, but it did also tickle me. And then the biggest reveal, really, at the end is that Roger's basically not got a penny to his name. We find out that it's like, I think it's a shell corporation that's basically got the adult film industry or adult toy business is what's revenue in the school, and things sort of spiral from there. But it's the fact that Miss Shackleton was looking at his files and sort of learned too much, so he was trying to push her to the one side. So there's that. We also start to see the romance between Jack and Miss Shackleton. Like, on paper, it feels like a very weird couple because, like Steph said, there's a huge age gap. But I think that it kind of works in a weird way. Like, they've got good chemistry. And we all know that Jack enjoys the company of a younger woman. I mean, in the reboot or modern show, whatever you want to call it, I think him and Serena Michelle end up spending the night together, as a very stoned Darius points out during his terrible interview. Just one of my favourite bits of the modern show. But yeah, there's that. We see that Lorna is still sort of putting a foot in the relationship between Tom and Izzy and causing conflict. Like, she's refusing to leave, and Izzy seeing Tom as being unreasonable. I'm kind of siding with Tom a little bit. Like, I know that she's pulling the strings, but like, I just think, I get Izzy probably feels guilty because Tom and Lorna used to be together, and there's this baby they're having now and XYZ, but I do think that the Lorna storyline should have ended at the end of series 1, or just not existed, because we all know from my previous podcast episodes that I don't like it, but here we are. So it ends with Andrew resigning and Roger basically saying, Jack, you're what Waterloo Road needs. Jack makes him grovel a little bit, but ultimately he accepts the role. So that's where we are going into the next episode. I mean, I do think it is a bit gimmicky, but I think as it's the first time this has happened, it's fine. And I do like what they did with it. I do think there was enough sort of plot relevancy to have it be set up and be believable. And I do think it was fun seeing what it would be like for Andrew to be in the driver's seat. It's like a little Elseworlds episode. And I was fine with it, to be honest with you. It's a good way of bringing Lewis back in. It feels like quite a good like juncture episode, or like junction episode, for like plots to like get on or get off. That's kind of my reading of it. So I enjoyed this one. It was decent. So I think I'm going to wrap things up there. This has been All Is New, and you've been listening to Waterloo Road Rewind. I'll catch you next time.